Hello, this is Kellen pulling up Tewa from Hopi Cancer Support Services, the program coordinator for the Hopi Women's Health Program. Uh, we are here today to talk about the value of Hopi Tewa women. And we have a special guest here, Ms. Carrie Onse. She is the executive director for the Hopi Tewa Women's Coalition to End Abuse, a nonprofit tribal coalition that provides technical assistance, training, outreach, education, and cultural programs addressing violence against women. Carrie has a bachelor's degree from NAU in health science with an emphasis in community health promotion and served as a health educator for the Hopi tribe and Indian Health Services for 12 years from 2003 to 2015. Carrie served on the Hopi Tewa Women's Coalition Board from 2008 to 2015 and was hired as the executive director in June of 2015. As the executive director, Carrie has secured grant funds from the coalition and established cultural-based programming to end violence against Hopi and Tewa women. She is also an alumni of the 2012-2013 Hopi Leadership Program. Carrie is Tsukmoa, Rattlesnake Clan from the village of Munkapi and values family, traditions, and promotes healthy and safe Hopi communities. Welcome, Carrie, and it's great to have you on board and as one of our presenters for this year's 2022 Hopi Women's Health Week.
We Escoli, Kellen, and the Hopi Cancer Support Services for the invitation. It's an honor to be here. I do recognize the Hopi Women's Health Program as a contributor to who I am today, that's where I first worked after receiving my degree in public health for a couple years. So Hopi Women's Health Program always has a special place in my heart. So today, let me share my screen. We're going to be talking about values of Hopi and Tewa women, and it's something that I think we've all have been taught as both male and female, and it's something that is still at the core of where we are today, who we are today, our identities, and who we will be on this path of life and how we will carry ourselves and move forward. Kellen did say, I am Zitwungwa from the village of Munkapi, and it's just an honor again to be here with you all today. Before I start, I do want to share that what I'm sharing is a culmination of knowledge, experiences, discussions, teachings that I've received up until this point in my life. I honor my mothers, grandmothers, aunts, sisters, friends, mentors, and daughters as they have taught me about Hopi life and my role as a Hopi woman. And these are their teachings that have been passed on from time immemorial. And I acknowledge my role in passing them on to the future generations. So I did not come up with these concepts. They've been taught to us from generations back and will continue to be taught to our daughters and granddaughters in order for our Hopi and Tewa way of life to be sustained. And so I do want to give them my acknowledgement, and especially to my mentors, Miss Beatrice Norton and other people that I've been privileged to just listen and learn from, even the staff and the board of our Hopi Tewa Women's Coalition to End Abuse. So Hopi women, we are, we go through life stages from Amana or Manauya, Mana, Wuti, and even So Wuti, So. From childhood into the teen adolescent years, into the time frame when a woman becomes a bride or has that responsibility of wife duties in our lives, and eventually, becoming entering the age of the elder. And it's been a pathway that is set for not only women but all beings, that we have a positive, healthy, strong life from childhood, and that we go into our elder years, being able to experience such activities and be able to honor and uphold our duties as Hopi and Tewa women. And so I just wanted to share these photos to honor, all the stages of life as from a Hopi woman. And at each stage of our lives, we learn different things. And I always say that we never stop learning. Even elders can still learn about things that we have in our Hopi life cycle. And so that's basically just being open-minded to what is out there, what's available to us, the teachings, and being able to put them in practice as well. So core values, what does that mean? So today I'm gonna talk a little bit of those core values of a Hopi and Tewa woman, and that where we can practice them as well. So a definition of a core value is that they're traits or qualities that are not just worthwhile. They represent an individual's or an organization's highest priorities, their deeply held beliefs, and core fundamental driving forces. So these are what make us who we are. And it's important, and I appreciate that not only does it talk about an individual, but it also mentions organizations, right? We have several programs and offices here on Hopi that provide services to Hopi women, children, and families. And it seems like they're the primary users of these services, and that if we honor and incorporate the respect of a Hopi woman, Hopi and Tewa woman, into our organization's priorities, beliefs, we're only doing that much more service in the work that we do. So, just the basics. Hopi is a matrilineal society in which the clan identity is carried on by the mother and given to her children. And this is where we receive our identity. We receive that through her. Whatever clan your mother is, that's the clan you are, whether you're male or female. And we also receive our home, from her. What village does she belong to, and then that you're born into that village as well through your mother. Women are the matriarchs of their clans. They're typically looked at in that way of being honored, especially when they're elders. They are sought, after for information, knowledge, even life lessons that we need to hear in order for us to live our daily lives. And even when we engage in some of our milestone activities, such as when babies are born, weddings, cultural activities, ceremonies, when a girl becomes a woman, the corn grinding ceremonies. There's all these different things that, when we're going to be doing something in our lives, that woman, that clan mother or that elder is one that we typically go to and seek information and guidance from. They're also there to support and provide that nurturing care and love to their family. Women are also symbolized in our culture, ceremonies, and traditions. There's several um, places in our culture, ceremonies, and traditions that mention and refer to women, their ability to be the caretaker, their ability to give life. Um, and it also represents that balance and harmony between male and female. We have all those references in our culture, and that's that honoring of that Hopi woman. And then in our matrilineal society, Hopi women um, do have ownership of their home and land. And anytime that there are issues that come about when it comes to home ownership and land ownership, the woman is sought out also to ask questions. And they in turn may also seek out their uncle relatives, um, their relations in that way for additional guidance and knowledge. But ultimately, women do own their home and the land. Okay, so Hopi women's values. And again, these are snippets of things that I've been taught and that um, some very powerful, not powerful, but amazing women in my life have shared with me individually as a young Hopi woman, and even in my role and in leadership with the Hopi Tewa Women's Coalition. And it's because of the nature of the work that we do with the coalition, we pay extra attention to these values and how we can promote them, honor them, and incorporate them into the work that we do. And these, are never far from what we attempt to do in our work. So the first one, women are valuable and priceless. That's the way we say it in Hopi probably has much more deeper meaning than when we translate into English. But women are pretty much irreplaceable. What they contribute, their assets, of who they are, their role and their responsibilities in our daily life, in the agricultural cycle, in our ceremonial cycle, they cannot be replaced. They have their unique role in that, and because of that, we must continue to promote and honor their role and love and cherish our women um, at all times. Not golalwa. That means that women are childbearers, or that they have that ability to be childbearers and bring life into this world. That's obviously a very unique role that women have, and it is through them that clans and families are extended and grow to maintain our Hopi and Tewa way of life, to continue, what we are set here in this world to do, to maintain our culture and our language, and to um, carry on these unique roles of women. Women are the core hearts of a family. I've been in many conversations with different groups, whether it's in my own family group or work or other gatherings with Indigenous women. And the one thing that is, at the center is that a woman is home. We see women as being who we are, and when you walk into the door, most oftentimes it's where's mom, or that's the first person they seek out is their mother, because she is that core heart of a family. And when she's not home, or she does pass on, there's a piece missing. from that family because she held that family together. She was the keeper of that home, and she's the one that makes a home um, warm and inviting and loving. Um, and not only does she do that within her own home, she extends that type of heart into the community as well. Women are also our knowledge keepers and teachers of culture, language, traditions, roles, and responsibilities, especially to the young women, the young girls. Teaching starts at a very, very early age for girls. They're taught, how to keep the home clean, food preparation, cookery. What's our role when there's a ceremony or a wedding? What role do you fulfill? They're always, always teaching. And sometimes you have to always have that ear open because you never know when a typical conversation will turn into a life teaching moment. And that's what women do on a daily, daily basis. Even in my own experience, there's not a day that goes by that, I'm thinking about what did my mom say? What did my soul say? Of what I need to remember and what do I need to do to maintain my duty as a Hopi woman. They are caretakers and nurturers of children and families. Again, they're raising the children in the home, and teaching them, not just these values of a Hopi woman, but just the core values of being a Hopi. What does that mean? We talk about respect and not being lazy and going out to do things for other people, even without being asked or without expecting, compensation or to be paid. And they do that in such a way that it's nurturing and um, that it's fun to learn, and that's the amazing power that women have. And even for women that do not have children of their own, um, it's pretty amazing to see, how our family relations are. We have moms, we have sisters, we have daughters. When we talk about how our clans and extended families are related, I I take that responsibility of being called a mom by my clan daughters, my own goddaughters, and my, what we would refer to in as nieces and nephews. They are more than just my nieces and nephews. They are my children too. And as their carry mom, it's also my duty to carry on with the core values that they're being taught in their own homes, and to continue to care and nurture them, just as their own mother would do. And so that unique quality is something that I really value as a woman in our role, that we do honor our relations in that way. Women are also our seed keepers in our agricultural way of life. Again, it's all about that balance and harmony between a male and female. Um, the female, it's they are the ones that provide the seeds to their farmers, their husbands, or their sons, or even their brothers, to be planted. The men, in turn, take care of the field, and that nut money that is brought forth, that's grown from that field, is then taken home to the woman, to the mother or wife of the home, and she then takes care of that and nurtures even then, that harvest, and cares for it in such a loving way, to clean it and to store it and to save it, for when it is needed again, whether it's for preparing a Hopi traditional foods, or our most valuable resource or food would be that our Hopinumni. which is used in a lot of different ways. So again, she's when it comes time to planting season, she's then getting ready for what she needs, looking at her stock, okay, I'm out of blue corn, or I'm running low of blue corn, so we're gonna plant more blue corn this year. There's so many things that are going through her mind, in a way that it's everything is looking at the future, planning for the future. And so that's her role. And of course, not without going into detail, our Hopi and Tewa women hold various roles and responsibilities in our culture and ceremonies. There's they are valued in that way. As Hopi, we have a calendar of events and ceremonies that are put into place for carrying on our Hopi way of life. It's about prayer, um, prayer for strength, health, long, healthy lives, and prayer for the rains to nourish the crops that will eventually grow our food to nourish our bodies. So she does hold those roles in various aspects in our ceremonies. And they are decision makers when it comes to homes, land, and family issues. Again, we do honor all our relations when it comes to other things, discipline, or, just information about who we are in our own families. And, males are also brought in to share information, to give knowledge, even to give history. But when it comes to the homeland and family, it's ultimately the female, the woman, or that clan mother or elder in the family that helps to make these decisions for their families. And so, there's so much, of these roles and values that women do carry. Um, in addition to in our modern society, they may also be in the workplace. They might be securing an education for themselves in college, or you know, um, doing other things to maintain their home and their household. But I do truly believe that even when women are now, engaging in these modern activities, to maintain our daily lives, they do that with and carrying these values of who they are as Hopi and Tewa women. That never leaves them, even when they are, doing other things that are not Hopi, that we consider mainstream society type things. So guiding principles, and this is talking now more about the individual. There's so many current issues affecting not only Hopi and Tewa women, but Indigenous women across the world, in that, we must continue to honor ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and our mental health. That, these are things that we should, continue to learn more about, honor, and even carry out in our daily lives. So the first one is showing self-respect. Nakepti, namita na yatota, meaning we take care of ourselves, looking after ourselves, being mindful of who we are, and what's around us, and being, and by doing that, we see these next items here. Um, and some of these might seem, to be what you would say is old fashioned, but these are things that are still taught to this day, in of how we take care of ourselves and our bodies. And it's things that it's about having pride and respect in yourself. And dressing appropriately, seems to be like one that's old fashioned, but again, it's about covering, in um, our old way of life, that, women and girls were always covered, meaning their clothing was not exposing their body parts. They covered their body and kept that body to themselves. Um, one thing that I've learned also along the way that's been taught to me was don't bring attention to yourself, basit nangwa, meaning have that humility and modesty and patience. We can be proud of ourselves. We can be prideful in our families, in our children, um, but but by practicing that, it's something that goes back into having self-respect for yourself. Now, on the other hand, right, we do live in this modern day society where we now have social media. We have Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and those are avenues for self-expression and freedom of voice. And in those settings are we've seen more of just posting of ourselves, our pictures, and I've done that myself. And but at the same time, you want to do that in a way that is also respectful to yourself. And I just want to say I love looking at everybody's posts when they're bragging about their kids, because I think that's the most wonderful thing, is to show a child and our family's accomplishments and love and care for one another. You want to also safeguard your reputation. Na kiao kiao nangwa, meaning be be who you are. Be who you are as an individual, as a woman, but also be stingy with yourself in a way. You don't want to be which is hard in these days, unfortunately, that there's a lot of gossip. We don't want to put ourselves in situations where there's misinformation about you, or even we too, as women and people, can even stop that cycle. If we do not need to engage in gossip or um, or carry on those types of these myths about an individual, or these false statements about an individual, um, unless you didn't hear it yourself, or you don't know that if it's true or not. And that's another thing that we also can do as a community, is um, work on how we can be better at that. Don't abuse women. Um, again, it's women are very precious and priceless, and especially in our work with the Hopi Tewa Women's Coalition, this is something that we talk about a lot. And that when you want to give and show respect, that goes beyond just honoring them as your Hopi mother, Hopi wife, or in our culture, but it also goes beyond into not to abuse them emotionally, physically, spiritually, even financially. You're in a way that hurt can leave lasting scars and trauma in women. And with all the things that we've already experienced as women, historical trauma, intergenerational trauma, there's a lot that our women these days are carrying, and that we do not want to continue that cycle of violence either. Also, taking initiative to care for something without being instructed. And I think that's something that we've all been taught as males and females, that hitat nangwa is one of those core values that we must be upholding. It may not be something that we do every day, but when you see someone in need, or you see that there is a need within maybe your own family, your village, or your community, um, you know, I would challenge you as a woman to take that initiative. Um, We just finished a 3-day women's wellness retreat with over 30 women from Hopi and Tewa, and one of our segments was called Passion to Action, and we had a guest, a Tewa woman, who took on cleaning up her village, cleaning all the trash, the debris, because in her way is to on not only was it to clean up and to make her village beautiful again, but it was also honoring Mother Earth, which in turn honors Hopi women and females. So again, she wasn't asked, she wasn't told, but yet she took that initiative to do something on her own. And when you do things like that, it results in a feeling of satisfaction, a feeling of accomplishment, and you also see too that when people see you do things like that, they want to help you and support you, and cheer you on, and empower you. um, and when you see someone doing something like that, again, it should be in us to either go offer our support, or praise them, or be of assistance in some kind of way, that we again uplift and empower one another. We should not be tearing somebody down, because that just again can hinder um, who we are as Hopi and Tewa women. Exercising, taking care of our physical body. I'm sure there's many of us that have heard the term wellness, dimensions of wellness. There's different types of wellness, and physical wellness is definitely probably the most popular dimension of wellness, and it's because we want to maintain a strong, healthy body. We want to maintain that body so that we can grow into old age, and and eventually, it's also to help prevent illnesses as much as we can. So exercising, um, taking care of your physical body. That means even your diet, drinking water, eating more fruits and vegetables, even nourishing our bodies with our Hopi and Tewa foods. Those are things that bring us nourishment, and even, in a way, it also uplifts our own spirit, and it connects us back to who we are as Hopi and Tewa people. Speaking of social media, I feel like that's something I've seen a lot. Like, that's when people are living off reservation, they want to come home, they want to smell the smells, they want to eat the food, because that's what reconnects them. And I don't blame them, because that's something that is a part of who we are. It's our identity is even that food that we prepare. And the next phase is not just, what, we eat or nourish our bodies with, but it's also, the exercise, keeping up our body strength, because a lot of our things as in our Hopi culture is, it requires some physical aspects. It's grinding corn, it's walking, it's climbing, it's being outdoors, it's, doing things around the home. And so when you're physically capable, you are able to continue to care for your home and your family, and to participate even in some of our cultural activities. And then it also goes to speak of, you know, um, being mindful of what we're also putting into our bodies, and that also talks about substances, drugs and alcohol and even smoking. We all know, right, that they have the negative effects on our bodies, our minds, and our spirits, and that we also know that the use of such um, drugs or substances is also seen as a coping mechanism for those who have endured trauma. But when there's that time that you honor yourself, and you're ready, definitely, look at reducing the use, or um, you know um, moving away from using those, and start moving into taking care of your physical body in different ways, such as exercise and proper nutrition, and even your health screenings. I know that's a very big message that the Hopi Women's Health Program Cancer Support Services promotes is screenings, going to the doctor, and, or whatever type of healing that you prefer. Maybe that's a medicine man or woman, a tuhikya, or seeking out those more natural healing techniques. But again, that's a part of taking care of your physical body, maintaining, and that's when we do those things as women, we're also honoring our bodies and honoring our spirits to tell our soul, our spirit, that we love and care about it, that we want to also take care of our physical body. Another one is, a role that some of you may have is the role of a wife or a mitwi, which is a bride, an in-law who's gone through the Hopi traditional wedding. And with that comes so much more. These things that I've been talking about are typical of any woman, whether they're a wife or in a marriage or relationship, or whether or not they've gone through a Hopi traditional wedding or marriage. But once that happens, and you become a wife in a midway, there's additional roles that a woman must take on. Not only does she take care of her own family, in a way, she also helps to take care of her in-laws by feeding them, helping to clean up at their home, being that happy and respectful individual when you go to your husband's home is also part of these guiding principles. You be helpful, you're not lazy, you are uh, um, not angry, which is something that, for those of us who know about Hopi weddings, there's a lot of these things that people see. Um, and although we may not want to think that people are watching us or taking note of how we are and what our personalities are, but those are different things that we should also be mindful of. It's just how we treat one another, right? you know um, those are things, that those golden rules: treat others how we want to be treated, and that kind of carries into um, that role of being a wife in a mitwi. Um, so, again, we could probably go on, but these are things, and I think these are just the beginnings. And I want you all, especially you women and girls and men, but mostly to understand the core values of women, and how either you can you still have that opportunity to learn more about those roles for yourself, so that you can either start putting them into action, or you can teach the younger girls in your family, and even teach your boys, your sons, your nephews about the role of women, so that they can carry that on into adulthood and be, a person, an individual who respects and honors the women in their lives. You we probably have this opportunity every single day, to be with our mothers and our grandmothers, because of the way our Hopi life is. Um, we live in our villages, where we have opportunities to be next door or very close to our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunts, and have that and take that opportunity, and not just wait until there's a ceremony or a cultural activity that's occurring to go and seek information. Um, I know that the women in my life are always willing to share and to start a story. And what I really like listening to is even their own life stories. How was it when they were growing up as children? Um, what did they endure? Because a lot of times, that we can learn from that. Be open to learning. Like I said, I'm not done learning. I am no expert in any of this. All of this comes as a culmination of everything that I've been taught and witnessed and observed, and even practiced. So continue to be open to learning. I know that we all are different clans. We come from different villages. We all, in each village, that we come from doesn't do all the same types of ceremonies. My husband is from Second Mesa and I'm from Third Mesa, and so that's also a big difference. And so I'm always constantly learning, the cultural activities that they do in Second Mesa. Be intentional with your words and actions. I think even, and this goes to anyone, we should also be mindful that, you know, of that, what the phrase of thinking before you speak, and that's that basit nangwa from our Hopi values. We're trying to be very mindful of what we say, because we know now that words are very powerful. And when we say things when we're angry or hurt, upset, um, that they may not be our true words, and that it can be very harmful and hurtful to others as well. And when you say you're going to help someone, um, or to do something, be intentional and carry that through, because, like I said, it's about who you are and who you want people, how you want people to see you. You want to live a life that is honorable and respectful, but also, like, be just be gentle with yourself. I know that in life we all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. Nobody intends to be perfect, and we're all striving to be the best person that we can be, individually as a Hopi or Tewa, and as an indigenous person, as a female. It's a constant attempt to be the best person that we can be, and also be gentle with others. You never know where they are at in their own learning, in their cultural learning. They may be as old or older than you and still not have been taught certain things that you may know. And so be gentle, and be a teacher, and a support person for them, because we know, right, that we all deal with different emotions, and some of us are easy to be taught, and some of us are, we get our feelings hurt, and sometimes it's unintentional. A person may not intend to hurt my feelings or our feelings, but we're all made different, and that, when we're intentional and gentle with our words, you never know who you might be impacting. Practice self-care. This is something that I think we've all talked about in all types of work that we do, whether it's in the ending violence against Native women, whether it's in the diabetes prevention, wellness, fitness, cancer prevention, and even working with elders. It's always about self-care, taking care of yourself. I know that for Hopi and Tewa women, it's a lot harder to think of yourself first. Most oftentimes women, mothers, wives are not thinking of themselves first. They're thinking about their families, what's next, what they have to do, their tasks, their jobs, and they have little to no time for themselves. When we first started talking about this concept, especially with like the older generations, they kind of looked at us and like they said, well, what's that? What does that mean? I don't have time for that. I have to get my corn ready. I have to clean the house. I have to cook. They're planting this weekend, so I'm feeding them in. There's so many things that we have on our list, but any way that you can find time to practice self-care, and that can be anything. That can be going for your daily walk. Some women consider self-care as sitting in the biki house and making biki. That's that time for themselves to reflect on things thus far in their lives, or how they may approach a certain situation, or um, being happy because they know they're preparing for something good for their family or community. Self-care can be things like reading books or listening to music, visiting with a friend, to uplift your spirit and your mind. And sometimes we need that connection with our fellow females, to reinvigorate ourselves. Sometimes as women, all those tasks, and they feel burdened by the things that we're responsible for. And by being a good relative, a good sister, a friend, being a listener, you can also help somebody with their own self-care, to help them vent, or to hear them out, to when they're having a difficult time, which then goes into support and empower other women. I cannot say this enough. We're so um, used to seeing and hearing the gossip and the put downs of other women, when we should in turn be supporting and empowering them. And um, not only does that help them, it empowers them, but it also makes you as an individual feel good about yourself. You feel like you're supporting somebody and being truthful in that. You can see the benefits that come out of that. Like I said, the past 3 nights were spent with these 30 women, and they are supportive, they are empowering to one another. And when we do that, it's just so much easier, I feel like, rather than um, getting caught up in the gossip, which is such a hard um, thing to avoid, because I think it's everywhere in the whole world. But we can again break those cycles of that, and be the one that's going to support and empower other women. And I've seen other women in our community do this, and it's so amazing. And it empowers me too, myself, when I see other people empowering other women. And it just contributes to the growth and that nurturing and honoring and respect of our Hopi and Tewa women. And again, these are simple reminders. I know that there are many more women out there who probably have much more knowledge than I do, but we all can start somewhere. We can all start from these simple guidelines and values, um, and it's never too late to make positive changes for yourself, whether it's your spirituality, being more culturally active, or even taking care of yourself, your body, and your mental health. It's never too late to do that. And I really value the programs that promote such opportunities for our people, and get involved. I challenge our women to be involved in some of these programs and seek out their services, because they are very um, good for your own well-being. So with that, I think, this was a really great opportunity to, get that reminder to start, maybe starting your own conversations with your families, in your own workplaces. These are good topic discussions to have. So with that, I just want to say, again, askweli masosoyam take care of yourselves, and we shall talk to you again soon. Askweli.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I know that with all the um, people out there, they're going to learn a lot from this presentation. So again, thank you. And this will conclude our presentation for the National Women's Health Week 2022. And